Hello there, beautiful, and welcome back to The Dark Alchemist. Today I have a very special reading straight from your ancestors. I will deliver a healing message to you. They want to talk about a particular pattern that has been active in your ancestral line and that you are here to break apart, break open, and heal. So we will look at what this pattern is, how this plays out. We will look at the ancestral roots of it, and of course we will look at ways that you can heal it. So this reading is actually my Halloween or Samhain contribution, even though it comes a few days late. And it is a few days late for you because I am recording this on the day off, It is actually when the veil is at its thinnest. I can really feel it. Can feel the days leading up to it as well. I like to take this opportunity to bring all the messages from the ancestors through. Because they've been bugging me a bit for it. I'm not complaining here. We're good. You might also hear in the background that it's incredibly stormy today. You might hear the windows rattling, and I also have a tree right outside my window that occasionally whips its branches, like the whomping willow up against my window or the wall that's adjacent to it. So if you hear that, I'm truly sorry about that. Or if you find this adds a little nice ASMR, you're welcome. I guess I'm going to find out when I'm editing. All right, let's start this off by taking a deep centering breath together, and then we will look at our piles. So take a deep breath in, please. And out. And today I have 3 pots for you, and I don't have 3 crystals, but I have 3 beautiful fall leaves for you to choose from, and I'm going to show them to you now. Okay, for pile number 1 we have the bear. For pile number 2 today we have the elephant. And for pile number 3, we have the tiger. For pile number 1, we have this beautiful red leaf. For pile number 2, we have this yellow goodness. And for pile number 3, we have the last remnants of spring and this greenish yellow leaf. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in for you and give you about a minute meditation with some music. Take more centering breaths and then see which pile or maybe piles you feel most drawn to. You'll find the timestamps down below, and I'll see you in your selected piles. If you felt drawn to the bear card or to this beautiful red leaf, welcome to your reading. And it's so interesting for you already. I'm very intrigued. I heard a very specific message coming through kind of on a loop as I shuffled your cards. And the message that I heard is that you are psychic, or you have psychic gifts, psychic abilities to some extent. And that's what I heard. Like, so I just heard them say, like, you are a psychic, you are a psychic. Now we're gonna put this together in our reading with the messages, but already I need to start with this because they told me this before I even looked at any of the story parts. So, I want to pass that on. And it is actually quite interesting because you also have the bear card. And I didn't tell you before picking, but the animal cards are a representation of your personality. So these cards represent who you are. And the bear card stands for someone who is in the process of awakening. The bear that's depicted here is someone who is waking up from a very, very long slumber throughout winter, hibernation, and waking up and going out into the sun. You see here we got like the little rays of sunshine, who's wandering outside of his burrow in the early springtime with the first rays of sunshine. And the steps are a bit wobbly, it's kind of like when you've been sleeping for so long, your muscles need to build up a little bit and get used to everything again. And it's kind of that type of energy that you are bringing into this reading. So there's some sort of awakening happening. And we heard you were a psychic, so your spiritual gifts are coming in on hard mode right now. I heard them say hard mode, like you're playing a video game almost. All right. Let me pop your leaf. Actually, you can stay here for now. Let's have a look at the pattern that they want to talk about, because I've pulled 3 cards to talk about the pattern. Actually, we're going to pop you up here. And the first card that we have for you is the flame. We have, wow, okay, we have the fold line. I only say wow because this is the card for ancestors. This is the card that describes the like ancestral line, the fault line. And then we have, all right, we have the vision. And they just told me, we didn't have to tell you that you're a psychic to me, because we brought you this card. Like, I would have gotten that regardless, but they wanted to say that regardless. So this ancestral pattern that we have here, let me take a moment and look at this. Okay, so there has been this ancestral pattern. There has been like a divide, a rift in your ancestral line, where there is a long line of very, very strong seers. I specifically see seers. So people who are able to have premonitions. It can come through dreams, it can come through meditating. It can also show up, for example, right on the cusp before you are falling asleep, when you are starting to let go and you're starting to relax, but you're still in this moment of awareness. It's like when the body slips away and the mind is the mind is at rest, and it's this kind of like in-between state that they're drawing my attention to. That's when you will get visions. That's specifically for you right now, but it's also something, like I said, that's happening in your ancestral line, or that happened in your ancestral line. It's something that has not been talked about, and there is almost a they're giving me the word embargo here, an embargo. So it's something that is like forbidden in your family for various reasons. We're going to get into these a bit later, because we're going to look at the story of how this pattern plays out in your life or in this ancestral line. We're going to look at that. But this kind of embargo, I'm being drawn to the flame now, because actually when you look at this card, you see that we have the flame here, but it's kind of almost a paradox, this card, because you have the flame. Usually we would have this like light around the flame, right? And then the darkness surrounding that. But here it's the opposite, right? You have the flame here, and then you have the darkness surrounding that, and then you sort of have like an external light source almost that's bringing in light and tries to permeate this darkness here, but can't really cut through. And it's this feeling that I'm being shown or getting when it comes to your family line and this gift. It's like there have been many that have this light and also had this light, but they couldn't they couldn't really like cut through this kind of darkness. And I feel like this darkness is this representation of this embargo. It's like it's a taboo. It's a taboo to have this kind of gift. It's a taboo. It's on the outside, if you were to speak about this in your family, for example, you might get laughed at as an initial reaction, like they wouldn't take you seriously at all, and they may not take you seriously at all. But that's sort of that's the outward reaction to it. Inwardly, there is a different reaction, and it's deeply centered in fear. There's a lot of fear around that kind of gift, around the vision. Why is there fear surrounding that? Okay, they told me to pull the next few cards, because I did pull a few cards to give us sort of like more of a message, the message containing this ancestral pattern. And we have the card of diligence. We have truth. Okay. We have the card of voyage, or voyage. We have inner peace. And we have freedom. This freedom card, by the way, was the back of the deck energy. So that sort of like gives the tone for this message. So, like I said, this is the like back of the deck energy for it, and this sets the tone for the message. The main message surrounding this ancestral pattern and like your role in this is that you are here to free this energy up. You are here to be this visionary, to exercise your psychic gifts, to wear that. I just heard loud and proud, and to free yourself from this kind of from this kind of cage, and to allow this energy to be in there for you. They're also letting me know that because for centuries this gift has been suppressed, it is also connected to some fear energy from your side. So it's like when this energy pops up for you, I feel like you are in different stages. Some of you are like, I am not a psychic, but also you're here now still, you're still listening to this reading. Please keep listening, okay? Because this is a part of the awakening. Whether you have realized it yet or not, this is something that will come in for you, if it's not already, like I said. But there is a certain amount of fear connected to this kind of gift from your end. There are a lot of doubts surrounding this side of yours and your perception, but over time you will test it. You will see certain things, have certain visions, have certain images coming up, and you will walk through your life and being like, that's kind of odd. And then the next second, so to speak, you will see this happening and playing out in life, So there will be this confirmation happening surrounding you. Even if you're not talking with anyone about these kind of visions, you will know, and there will be a confirmation happening on the external for you. And this is going to help you already build a bit more trust surrounding that. And when it comes to the fear, this fear is present surrounding this gift because it has made, how shall I put this? In every single family line, we have patterns of light and patterns of shadow. We have people living in our ancestral lines that are primarily living from the light side and primarily living from the shadow side. So primarily using this like light energy or the shadow energy. Whereas the light energy is something that's healing, it's soothing, it's uplifting, it's supportive, it's nurturing, it's nourishing, thinks more about the collective and wants everyone to actually do well and, be part of this collective. And the shadow energy, when someone's acting from the shadow energy, it's someone who is overtly controlling. It's someone who does maybe some shady things or is not truthful, not authentic, is more focused on service to self rather than collective. So it's more the question of what's in it for me, without regard for anyone else surrounding that and how this service to self act might reflect back on them or might hurt them in any way. That's this kind of energies that we're speaking of here. And this kind of sight that you have that's been present in your line has been used in the past to sort of reveal this like shadow energy. And the shadow energy has been incredibly unhappy about that. And like I said, this is like, you can trace it back through your family line. There will be people of like light and dark throughout your family line, even like your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, There was always both energies present in the same generation, and there was like a little bit of conflict between these two. And this like shadow energy, it's present in each generation, but it also transcends the generation that it's in, in the sense of these are old patterns that are recycled and recycled and recycled through each generation until there's someone like you who decides to break the cycle and change it up. And there can be a lot of resentment towards the like shadow energy of these things, but while I do personally, I understand that, and then that's a feeling that like you need to process, etc. It's also something that's helpful, because without any kind of conflict and any kind of like, let's say, this kind of grit, like this little irritation, without that, this kind of growth wouldn't be possible. So it's like we're all in a play and everyone is playing the role that they were assigned in order to create something bigger. So it's not as personal as we usually like to make it, because what I just said about this ancestral pattern also means that in your life specifically, there is an energy present that embodies more of this shadow side, that has been more controlling, that has been more service to self. And you are someone who is more service to, not service to the collective, but like collectively oriented, I will say. Now, okay, let me get back to these messages, but that needed to come through first, because with the diligence, it's and like I'm being drawn to the clouds here with this card as well, because clouds means you can't really see fully, it's something that obstructs your view. And even when you look at this bird and the shadow that this bird has, which is incredibly large, prospectively speaking, this is a huge shadow for this bird to be on the ground. And I'm being drawn to this act of being very diligent when it comes to snuffing out this flame, to snuffing out this kind of gift, to keep this gift very hush-hushed. And it's this conflict that's portrayed also with the truth card, because in the truth card you see that there is this storm brewing here in the background. You see that someone is like the wind, blowing the air on this tree, and this is a card of protection as well. because this tree here is because the roots run so deep, and these roots are grounded in truth. You can't shake this tree. I mean, you can shake it a bit, but you can't destroy this tree. It's very, very strong, standing very strong in the truth. And there has been this conflict going on for a long time. And it's time for you now to go on this new journey. You see here with the voyage, you see that there is the large whale and then there's the baby whale nicely tucked underneath the big one. And the big one here is a representation of your ancestors. And you are this baby one, okay, from an energy perspective, because they're with you. They are guiding you through this new journey, throughout the steps. And because they know about this pattern and they've lived through this. And they also know, like what's a good next step to take and what maybe not. And they're coming through your intuition when it comes to exploring certain topics, speaking to someone about a topic or not speaking to someone about a topic. Not speaking to someone is very, very strong. So they will basically give you guidance on who you can trust alongside this to share, and you are guided. And this feeling of being guided is something that feels a bit difficult to see for you and fully recognize in the moment. But if you give it a year and you look back at each step that you've taken, you're going to realize that there actually is a red thread and everything is connected and everything makes sense. So for now, it's more about trusting your intuition when it comes to this. And this inner peace is something that they're emphasizing this inner peace. And they're emphasizing this inner peace because this shadow and light energy and this kind of conflict that's grounded in a little bit of fear about this, having this gift, is something that's playing out in your family line and your ancestral line, but it's also something that you inherited. So you are also, when it comes to this gift, when it pops up, experiencing some fear. And some fear about what's happening, what am I seeing? Some of you, I feel like, are also able to see other spirits around. So you might see things out of the corner of your eyes, or beings, some of you in an awake state, some of you when you're in your dream state. And there's going to be a lot happening surrounding this that's going to cause some fear. And first of all, I need to say there's nothing that can harm you ever from a spiritual perspective if you're not giving it the power to. Okay, so there's no energies that can harm you if you don't allow them to. Point blank. Very, very important to know, because when this is happening, it can be a bit difficult. Speaking from experience here, right? It's not like we really, usually when these gifts come up, you don't really have a lot of support surrounding you that helps you understand everything that's going on. So let me tell you right now, there's nothing that can hurt you without your consent. So without your boundaries, you can set your boundaries, but yeah. All right, let me return to the inner peace card. This inner peace card is here as a little symbol for you to restore this balance in yourself about this gift. It's not about, like, this kind of healing work that you're about to do is not about convincing someone in your family line to understand and accept this gift. It's not about them whatsoever. This is an alchemical process that's taking place purely inside of you. This is just about you and you restoring this inner harmony, this inner peace when it comes to this gift. And this inner peace is founded in you exploring this gift, feeling comfortable with it. And this is, again, this is not you wake up one day and you love it. It's a process, it's a healing process. It's an undoing process of limiting thought patterns and limiting beliefs surrounding this gift, and negative beliefs, and just around all of these gifts. And that's the work that you're here to do. It's like not about going externally and trying to make others okay with what you're doing. It's about you changing this kind of energy in yourself, because what you will do is you will free not only yourself, but you will free your ancestral line. It's we are very connected in that sense, where if you heal in parts of a pattern in yourself, you're also healing it throughout all of your ancestral line. And it starts and ends with you. Okay, that's what they want me to say about this. Let's have a look at the story that's connected to that, actually. Let me make a bit of space first. I'm going to put the inner peace on top, actually. Yeah. Let's have it like this. Okay, for the story, we have the 5 of Spells. We have the Forge. We have the 9 of Visions. We have the 5 of Visions. We have the 8 of Challenges. We have the 7 of Spells. And we have the Hermit. This is the back of the deck energy, which again gives like a tonality for this. Let me rearrange that. Okay, so they're actually bringing me back to a specific time and space. They're bringing me to the time of the witch hunts. So very specifically, let me share a little bit with you like about the story that's depicted here, because I see it very clearly. Let me start with these two, with the 5 of Spells, and then we have the Forge. The 5 of Spells is speaking about someone who is practicing their magic. You see that here. These are apprentices, and they practice by dueling each other, they kind of learn by practicing, and they're not quite there yet, but they have the spirit and they're trying and they're getting better. And we have this paired with the Forge, and the Forge speaks about mastery, being masters at crafting, masters at their craft. So there was a time in your ancestral line where this gift was practiced and practiced and practiced until absolute mastery. Just mastered this gift, mastered the vision, mastered the capabilities where you can turn it on and off like a light switch. So the energies that were around, if you didn't want to address them, if you didn't want to connect with them, you just didn't have to, you didn't see visions, you were not plagued by them, like complete utter mastery about this. And we have this paired with the 9 of Visions, which you see here, there is a coin that's tossed in a wishing well, and this speaks about a wish coming true, or the desire to have a wish come true, making a wish for the future. And we have this paired with, I will come back to this, by the way. We have this paired with the 5 of Visions. And the 5 of Visions speaks about an act of carelessness, about dropping the ball. And it's this feeling of, even though there was like all of this mastery present, and you were in your ancestral line. When I say you, I mean your ancestors were masters at their craft. They made their wishes. They made their enchanted crafting, their, how shall I put this? You craft with your intentions, and like your magic is in your intentions and the energy that you put out, that you put into something, and that's represented here by this 9 of Visions, and with this like wishing well. even though you did that, the reality or like the outcome was like you felt like you dropped the ball. And you felt like you dropped the ball because this act of carelessness is showing to me that this kind of practice was so there was a time, it's difficult to say that, I'm sorry, they're giving me like a lot of different images like in very, very quick succession. So it's kind of difficult as I'm trying to describe something. They're always already bringing me like the next 3 steps, so to speak. So actually, please like slow down a bit. Okay. That's better. Thanks. So there was a time in your family line where you were absolute masters of this craft until a particular period in time where this like kind of shadow energy started to creep in more and more into your family line. But it was not just your family line specifically. It was a time in our history when throughout all of our ancestral lines where this kind of shadow energy was creeping in and attaching this fear to these kinds of gifts. You know, like very, very, in a very pronounced way. This fear has always been a bit present, but, you know, not in every family line, etc. But there was a time in our history where this kind of gift got attacked. Straight up got attacked. And that's why we have like this like carelessness feeling here, because it was this feeling of dropping the ball. It's like there was this intention set for a peaceful future and practicing out in the open until there was a time in this ancestral line where it was not allowed to be out in the open anymore. And it's like someone caught you, basically. Someone caught some of your ancestors doing their mastery, doing their craft. And it's this feeling of dropping the ball, this act of carelessness. And it created, even when you look at this imagery at this woman who is like, her skin is torn up by all of the thorns of these roses, you know, and it's like growing out of her head, and she's like in a lot of pain. And it's this ostracizing feeling of everyone else around your magical ancestors, or these like psychically gifted ancestors, tearing them down and having a lot of opinions and ideas about them and what it means to have this kind of gift and how bad it is. And we have this paired with this with the 7 of Spells. I mean, the imagery itself is self-explanatory. You see that here, that there are these dwarfs surrounding this fire drake, and it's an angry mob. There's an angry mob surrounding that fire drake and wants them out. And this as well was a depiction of this ancestral line, because for some of you, actually, some of your ancestors, because of their gift of vision, they were able to foresee that. So they tried to run away, but they were caught. They tried to run away and they were caught. There's a lot of sadness coming through right now from them. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Okay. I'm getting a bit teary-eyed now. But yeah, so they tried to run away, but they were caught. But even when you look at this image, when it comes to the power imbalance, I will say these dwarves are the representation of this like shadow energy in all of your ancestral line and all of these people surrounding it. And listen, the dwarves, even though they're more than of the fire drake, they're no match for the fire drake. Okay, if the fire drake wants to spit fire, it definitely can. It can easily destroy all of them, but it didn't, and your ancestors didn't. They knew that if they were to use this kind of psychic gift, because you can also cause a lot of harm by using that gift, they knew that if they were using that to free themselves and harm all of the others, that the karmic imbalance that they would create by doing so would be far more harmful than allowing this kind of gift to be a bit more on the down low for a couple of centuries. Because with their gift of sight, they knew that there would be a time in this ancestral line where this suppression would be challenged, and that's you. So they were anticipating you coming here. From a soul perspective as well, before you came here, you specifically came here to release and free this. This is the biggest contribution of your lifetime in your ancestral line, is to free this psychic energy, to free that up. That's like your biggest contribution when it comes to your ancestral line, your biggest mission here when it comes to this. And we're ending this with the Hermit. And with the Hermit, I have two messages for you. The first one is that because this was so ostracized and so dangerous to reveal this gift out in the open, it's not that your ancestors that came after this did not acknowledge that they had the gift quietly within themselves. They knew about it and they did foster it. But they fostered it in the comfort of themselves, in the hermit mode, basically, in the inner hermit mode, in the inner cave that you see here. And that's how this gift was able to survive, because all of your ancestors were practicing this. All of your ancestors from the light side were practicing this gift in secret, okay? And with the Hermit, there is also this little connotation when it comes to your family line. It's because you possess this gift, there is a huge mismatch between you and other family members, and you already know that it's present. I'm not telling you anything new here, but this will grow a bit as you are discovering your gift and tapping deeper into that. Don't worry about it. It's not about them. They're trying to push out of fear against it, and it's not personal to you. They inherited their own role when it comes to this, and we all need to break it apart and change it up. With the Hermit as well, it's like build a home in yourself, just like everyone else did. You are in the process of building a home within yourself, and I mean like a true home, where you are the one that you go to when you seek guidance. You will go to this gift of yours and receive your guidance through this. All right. That's really beautiful and also quite sad, actually. I feel like a lot of us are carrying some kind of witch wound from way back when. Okay, I'm gonna put the Hermit up top. And now I want to look at some advice on what you can do to heal that. Yeah, let's look at that. Actually, let me put the Hermit here. And let's put the Forge, the Master, because you will also be a master at this. And I'll also be right back because I need to change my camera battery. Okay, so let's look at your advice on what you can do. So the first, I love that, we have Geo, the slow. I just heard them say, take it easy. It's like take it easy. This is not a sprint, this is a marathon that we're talking about here. Yeah, we have hold space for your difficult emotions. I also specifically just got the message that you may want to research a little bit about the witch hunts and the witch trials and just what was going on around that time. To drop a little bit into that. Just sort of understand, and when you do that, be prepared for a lot of emotions to come up, because you will feel a lot of emotions, and they're letting me know to let you know that these emotions that you're feeling, like the intensity is going to surprise you, and it's you're not just processing your own emotions, you're also feeling their emotions, you know? There are a lot of emotions that they had that they could never process, and parts of that energy or that unprocessed emotion has been passed down to you, so that you can process that, because you are the cycle breaker for that ancestral line. And then we have Goddess of Light and Divine Protector with Artemis. We have Halls of Learning, Spirit Guides, Confirmation, Great Lessons. And we have Crystal Skull, Wisdom, Clarity, Divine Healing, High Vibrational Energy. All right. That's great, actually. So you're being called to slow down, take it easy, like Geo the Slow. This is a kind of energy of, they're showing me a black and white movie. You know, back when we had black and white movies, the like pace of narration was much more slower and much like a lot different than our movies today. And it's that kind of pace change that they're referring to. It's like taking things a lot more easy. It's also because this, like, cultivating this gift and allowing yourself to explore it is something that's going to take a lot of time in general. It's something that you can force. It's something that you need to allow. So there's a different approach, and I feel like allowing something to come in and allowing this kind of vision or this wisdom to come in, your intuition to speak to you, is something that you need to learn, and you need to learn it slowly, like take it easy, because you will hear it. Like I said at the very beginning, you will hear it when things are calm, when things are quiet, when you are in a state of receptivity. So that's number one. Cultivate the state of receptivity. Allow yourself pockets of time where you are deliberately slowing down, where you are calming your mind and allowing things to just like that, like that's kind of what they're showing me. It's just like, oh, slow down, that kind of emotion. Yeah, okay, we already spoke about the space. With the difficult emotions as well, start looking into ways that you can process your emotions. What does it even mean to hold space for your difficult emotions? For one thing, it means allowing yourself to feel these emotions, because, I mean, emotions are physical sensations. So you can be in a quiet state and ask yourself, what am I feeling and where am I feeling this? And then just focus on the physical sensations that your body will bring up. Sometimes there will be an emotion connected to it. And with your gift, over time, you will also develop the ability to, just from the physical sensation, you will be able to draw the story that's connected to it. And like I said, sometimes it will be a story from your life, and sometimes it will be a story that's connected to your ancestral lines, because you're also holding that within you. So there will be a vision coming through for you that's not your past life, but it's a vision from one of your ancestors that they need you to see, so that you can feel and process these emotions, to release it and let it go. There's a lot of collaboration coming from your ancestral side, coming in together with you to heal that and work your way through that. But yeah, like I said, these are physical sensations that you can feel. And I mean, I'm biased because I am an EFT tapping person, practitioner, that's the word. And let me put it here. And that's something that you could do. I actually want to do one about releasing the emotions surrounding the witch wound, but I don't know when I'm gonna get to that, to be honest. But it's on my list at some point. I will, if I make one, I will link it to this video, because I don't know when you're watching this, right? But whenever, if it's existent from my side, you will find it in the description box under your pile, because I'm gonna make a list with readings where I need to drop that in, because there are already quite a couple, like a few. Anyway, little side tangent. With like Artemis here, goddess of light and divine protector, your ancestors are, because you are doing this kind of healing work, incredibly protective of you. They are your protectors, and they will continue to be your protectors. A guidance on how you can work that and heal that is for you to raise your vibration and work with raising your vibration. What does that mean for you? Raising your vibration. There are a lot of videos that you can find when it comes to this kind of energy, and you will sort of like be in this play of balance between doing this kind of tough ancestral work and like processing these emotions, and immediately after you will like bounce back and feel incredibly good in your body and feel very happy and feel much lighter. You know, it's kind of this interplay, the like balancing out, and it will come in a spiral, by the way. Okay, it's going to come in waves, this kind of healing, because all at once would be too much. So it's going to come in waves, this kind of energy, to allow yourself space in between to rest and recover. And then when you're ready, like the next kind of ancestral line or the next kind of processing layer is going to come through. And so raising your vibration, that can happen through meditations. It can happen through sleep affirmations. It can also happen through something like Reiki, a practice. You can do lots of visualizations when it comes to inhaling golden light and allowing your body to feel lighter. There's so many resources on YouTube that you can find and dive a bit deeper into this. And with the clarity as well, it's like the more that you are cultivating your psychic gifts, the more clarity will feel, like the more you will understand what was going on, like to a much deeper extent than I'm tapping into right now. And like you're gonna be able to see, even in your parents and in your grandparents, you're gonna see the shadow energy, you're gonna see the light energy, and you can know like all of the connections and how it's working together, as well as how this energy is playing out in your own generation. Because I feel like some of you have siblings, and there might be this kind of the like direct conflict between one of you carries a lot of light energy and one of you carries a lot of shadow energy, and there was always this conflict. So this is going to be like a clarity on a very big scale when it comes to patterns and like relationship problems, and just like lots of things. Like they're showing me the image of a what's it called? When you have lots of wool and it's sort of like clumped together. It's like not neatly rolled up in a ball of yarn. That's it. It's not neatly rolled up in a ball of yarn. You know, when you buy it, you can just pull it out and then you knit a bit and you pull it out and it's fine. It's like knotted and kind of like messy and tidy, untidy. That's sort of the image they're showing me. And the more clarity that's going to come in, like the more knots are going to be released, and it's going to be at the end like a very, very clean and tidy, and you can roll it up in this neat little ball of yarn. With halls of learning, spirit guides, confirmation, great lessons. They're asking me to read the other one. I will read that one for you in a second. And with this one, no, they want me to read this one. Okay, so I will. What do you know? I opened it directly at the right page. All right. I heard you. So that you can see it. Yeah, that's good. Halls of learning, spirit guides, confirmation, great lessons. The halls of learning, also sometimes known as the great halls, are an etheric retreat dedicated to spiritual knowledge. They are a training space for all souls, including those on earth, spiritual guides, and those between lives. They have been visited by many spiritual seekers, seers, and mediums over the years, and have been described as a giant, somewhat gothic university building with marble flooring, spiral staircases, and tall bookcases. Some have said these halls are home to the Akashic records, while others have wondered if they are connected to the halls of Amenti. I can confirm that these are actually two different retreats. Ultimately, this etheric retreat is an ancient mystery school, and it is particularly powerful for those who are opening up their psychic and clairvoyant abilities. If this gateway comes to you often, it brings confirmation that your psychic gifts are strengthening. Also, if the idea of an ancient mystery school in the astral realm seems familiar, there's a good chance that you've been here during dream time or even between incarnations. These great halls are held within the heart of Source and are a projection of the Divine Mind's infinite intelligence. When we visit them, we are connecting directly with the wisdom of Source. We got connect. Think about a challenging time or lesson you are facing and say, Source and wisdom keepers of the halls of learning, thank you for revealing to me the pattern, trauma, or wound that has created this lesson so I can heal it once and for all, and then listen carefully to what arises. Your message. You are on the path to great learning. Spiritual beings are drawing close to support you. If you are facing challenging or difficult circumstances or have just moved through such a time, you're being called to review what you have learned about yourself. If you're still feeling overwhelmed by a certain event or asking why it happened, call on Source and your guides to reveal to you the pattern, trauma, or wound that has contributed to this challenge. If you aren't experiencing challenging energy, the reason is that you've made huge progress on your spiritual journey, so much so that your perspective has shifted so that you can view every challenge as a window of opportunity. The Halls of Learning Gateway indicates that your spiritual gifts are developing at this time. Well, that sort of was our reading in a nutshell, wasn't it? I feel called to say, develop your psychic gifts. That's one aspect of healing this. Pay attention to the difficult emotions that are present for you. Like, why are you feeling, like what kind of fear is present? Is it the fear of being seen? Is it the fear of the gift itself? Like be very precise with that, because this will lead you to the stories connected to it and the limiting beliefs that you are here to release. That's like the most important. These two are the most important aspects when it comes to this. And the more that you're accepting this, like the lighter vibration and allowing your vibration to rise and working on that is something that's going to come in as well. Of course, there is a bit of active effort involved, but the more that you are accepting it yourself, it's like an automatic up-leveling process, an automatic raising in an automatic rise in vibration. The more that you are accepting this light, this kind of gift, this energy, transmute this kind of darkness, we don't really have a lot of void space in our universe. We actually don't have any void space in our universe. Whenever there's something that is empty, it's almost immediately there's new energy coming in to rush to fill that space. And what's going to rush in for you is this high vibration, this positivity when it comes to your gift. Okay, they just said to pull the last cards. I did pre-shuffle this already. There's just a short little closing message from your ancestors for you, and then we will close our reading. So my beautiful ancestors from my pile ones, what closing message do you have for them, please? What closing message do you have for my beautiful pile number ones? For your ancestral children. We're going to get one more. Okay, thank you. We're going to take bottom deck energy as well today. So we have teach, inspire others, and let nature be your greatest teacher. And they're specifically drawing my attention to the different seasons, so the different cycles, cyclic nature. Also for the cyclic nature within you, there's a time when more gifts will come in and to nurture them, and there is a time to allow them to fully bloom. There is a time for allowing the limiting beliefs and these emotions to be released, so that will be autumn. And then you have winter, when there is a quiet phase of hibernation It's this kind of cyclic nature. We have dance. Allow yourself some fun each day, just as the sun dances with the moon each night. It's really important actually to do something fun as you're doing this kind of heavy lifting, because that's what you're doing. This is heavy lifting. Heavy lifting. And by the way, they also said thank you. Like, thank you for doing this kind of work. Thank you so much for coming here and doing this work. We need it. And then we have renew. Nature continuously renews itself year after year. And you are here to build the new. You are here to build the new. You are part of this renewal, the biggest part of this renewal. You have ancestral line. It's like this pattern will end with you, and then afterwards something completely different is going to happen. And I mean that in the best possible way, like where this gift is no longer super feared, where this gift is accepted, and it's like passed down openly throughout the generations. You will teach one another, and that's going to grow this gift even stronger and stronger. All right, my beautiful pile number ones. That's the message that I have for you today from your ancestors. And surrounding this topic of today's reading, there will be 2 extra resources coming your way. One is going to come next week, like on Monday, and it's going to be an EFT tapping to release some energy surrounding this ancestral pattern, but it's going to be one for the collective, so for all 3 piles. And I only recorded yours, so I don't know what the other 2 are going to be about, but I can already tell you what the second resource is going to be for you. Because I'm also a Reiki healer, I like to do 1 EFT tapping session and 1 Reiki healing connected to each reading that I do, each pick a card. And the Reiki healing that I'm going to do is going to be specifically to heal this pattern in your family line, in your ancestral line. So with Reiki, you can send Reiki also throughout the past and into the future. It's not limited to right here, right now. I mean, otherwise, if you watched a Reiki video of mine, you would not be able to receive the healing anyway. But I digress. This is going to be about this pattern that's present in you, but we're also going to send Reiki all the way back throughout your ancestral line, and it's going to be half an hour long, roundabout. So anyway, that's coming a week from now, if you're watching this as it goes live. If any of these things are live already, you will find them in the pinned comment as well as in the description box. All right, that's all I have to say. If this resonates with you and you want to share it with me in the comments, I would love to hear it. It's really, really cool for me always to sort of see how this fits into your life, because this was a very specific message today as well. And yeah, that's it. Take good care of yourself and have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye. If you felt drawn to the elephant card or this beautiful yellow leaf, then welcome to your reading, my dear. And we will actually start this off by having a look at the elephant card, because I didn't tell you prior to picking your piles, but the animal cards are a representation of you, a representation of your energy. And with this elephant card, I'm getting 2 very strong messages. The first one is that you are, at your core, incredibly abundant. It's a very, you're an energy that is very abundant and that has access to a lot of good luck, where things are fitting together like puzzle pieces, that kind of fortune. That kind of fortune is what we're talking about. Now, some of you may be inclined to click off because you look at your life and you're like, that's not me. And please stay on, because that's part of the ancestral pattern that we're going to address today. The second message that I'm getting here is that you are someone who is an absolute trailblazer. You are someone who is able to plow through any obstacle coming their way if they put their will behind it. So whatever you want, you can remove any obstacles in your way. So there's this feeling of you being unstoppable. That's your core energy. I do also feel that there are some things layered on top of that core energy or of the core frequency that are inhibiting you from living in this way fully right now. And the ancestral pattern, like the thing that we're going to look at today, is connected to your sense of self. So, because your ancestors already gave me a message when I pulled some cards, but I'm gonna tell it to you in a second. I just want to pull out some of your cards first, because first of all, I pulled 3 cards to look at the pattern that they want to address, and then I'm going to tell you the message that I got with these. So the first card that we have for you is the Mother. The second card that we have for you is the card of the Box. And the third card that we have for you is the Offering. And when I pulled, so these 2 cards flew out together, so they are a combination of one message basically, and the Offering was back of the deck energy. And when I pulled this card, I heard your ancestors say that there is a loss of self, like this, like the Offering was like a loss of self, and it was due to, I mean, we see a mother here. There's like an overbearing mother energy present in your ancestry, and it's this feeling of, I mean, kind of, let's say, when we take a look at these 2 cards here, you kind of already see a very similar image depicted. You see, because the nest is a space that can be very comforting, can be a place of feeling safe and protected, but it can also be a place where, just when you look at the snake and the way that it's kind of wound around, it can also be a place that can feel restrictive. You know, in our human society, when we are growing up, there comes a time when we need to leave the nest. I mean, there's even a word for it when the kids start to move out. It's the empty nest syndrome, right? That's something that they say about parents. And there's this feeling of this kind of mother energy, or this kind of nest is no longer, or has not been a place of safety, but it has been this feeling of being trapped inside a box. And even when I look at this box, you see all of these lines here. I feel like all of these lines are like barriers that were put in place in your life, and all of these barriers are also representations of the layers that are surrounding this kind of core energy that I spoke of with the Elephant card. All of these are sort of like layers that are caked on top with like limiting beliefs and like negative conditioning surrounding who you are and what you can do, what you're capable of doing. I feel like this is very much focused on what you're capable of doing and creating. So, okay, they just told me to pull the next cards. So for you, we have the card of psychic abilities. We have prosperity. I mean, this is already in line with the Elephant card as well. We have commitment. We have happiness. We have the card of the home. We have strength. And we have the card of new beginnings. I need to change these because the strength card was back of the deck energy for you. And back of the deck energy always means that this is the, it sort of gives the tonality for the rest, you know, it's kind of like the overarching principle or the overarching vibe, so to speak. Yeah. Let's have a look at this for a moment. Okay, so this mothering energy in your family line is one that has, whether they speak about it or not, I should add, whether they speak about it or not, this mothering energy that's present in your life has, and in your ancestral line, like I said, this is a generational pattern. So like in the generations back, there was always one sort of like mothering energy, and mothering energy doesn't necessarily have to be the mother. It's just the energy that fulfilled that kind of role of the picture that we have of the mother. It's like the caretaker, the carer. There was always one of these energies present in these like generational lines. Sometimes it skipped one, but most of the time there was at least one energy like this present of putting you in the box. And they're also saying it was more present in your mother line, actually. All right, so as clarification, thank you. And there was this like mothering energy, whether they spoke or speak about it or not, they are psychics, okay? They have certain abilities when it comes to seeing the future. But then again, when you have these kinds of gifts, there are two ways that you can use that kind of gift. You can use it you can use it basically with the light energy, or you can use it with the shadow energy. And that speaks about intent as well, the intent of what you're going to do with the information once you receive it, right? Also, I need to move this over a bit. It's a bit wonky. What you're doing with this information once you receive it, because you can use any piece of information to either uplift and heal and support and nurture or nourish, or you can use it to destroy. Give you an example. What I'm doing here right now, this kind of sensitivity of being able to hear messages coming through from ancestors. I know that there is there's like mothering energy as someone with the psychic gifts, and throughout this reading we're going to uncover some of your, remember we already spoke about the loss of self, so we're going to speak a little bit about how you see yourself as well throughout this reading. That kind of information can be used to heal, uplift, empower, which is something that I will do. We will speak about ways that you can heal that, ways that you can use this kind of information to also sort of protect yourself from this mothering energy, because when there is a pattern present and you can see it, it's easier to detach from it and take a step back and not take the attack so personal. Or I could use this information to manipulate, to gaslight, and to, because I know your weak points, I could use this information to hurt you. Just plain blank, like hurt you. And these are like always with any type of spiritual or any type of psychic gifts, there's always a choice with what you're doing with the kind of information or the kinds of abilities that you have. And that's true. It's like always this power play, this power play that's present, not just with like psychic gifts, it's present through in every area of your life, you know? But I just wanted to say that and make it very, very clear that that's what we're speaking of, because it's very easy to sort of forget that there is a choice. And your ancestors are very, very adamant about me saying that it is a choice, because this mothering energy with these psychic gifts chooses and has chosen repeatedly to use this kind of sensitivity for darker reasons. So they will use this kind of energy and this kind of ability to hurt, to oppress, is what I just heard, to minimize, to criticize, and to destroy. That's what they're doing. That's how they're using this energy. And I'm thinking about narcissism right now, or that's something that just came to my mind. But then again, that's maybe the case for some of you, but I feel like that's not for all of you, but for some of you that is the case. But there for sure is this element of like verbal abuse happening. Verbal abuse, emotional manipulation, that kind of energy has been happening also for you and in your ancestral line. And remember how I said the elephant, that you are a trailblazer, you are someone who is unstoppable, who removes obstacles, which, by the way, also the god of like Ganesh is coming to mind, the Indian god is coming to mind there as well. But you are here to unravel that and to release that and to dispel that from the family line. So you're a cycle breaker when it comes to this. And let me get back to our story here, how this plays out. It's like this. This mothering energy had the ability, or has the ability, to see you, so the children, incredibly clearly. And that means there is a very, very clear view on your potential, on what you're capable of doing, as well as for some cases they know about your successes and what you're able to achieve way before you do. Basically, when you were a child, they were already able to see certain aspects or certain assets, is what I just heard, certain assets that you're going to acquire in your lifetime, and sort of sees glimpses of how your life can play out. And what they saw was a lot of prosperity. They saw a happy home, like a happy partnership to whatever degree that applies to you. Could be marriage for some, but doesn't have to be. That's why I say partnership. Happy, committed partnership. We have like just you feeling incredibly happy. We have the home of your dreams, the ability to continually reinvent yourself. And I mean that in the best possible way of like you knowing when it's time to move on to the new level, or go on a new journey. It's like, okay, I've done this. I've worked in this sort of like field surrounding a particular topic, and I've done everything I can do here, and now it's time to move on. And there's like continually this like very auspicious, very prosperous new beginnings happening. And this energy already felt jealous of that. So there's like a lot of jealousy happening, jealous of that, because they were comparing it to their own lives and what they were able to do. And there's a very fragile ego happening on this like mothering energy, on this energy, very, very vengeful. It's there's this feeling of they feel so inadequate about themselves that there is the need to tear everyone around them down, and no one is allowed to have something better than them, because that then threatens their sense of self. Because they saw that in you, that kind of spark, that kind of energy, that kind of life. And like I said, it felt like to them, it feels like a threat to their own identity, basically. Okay, that's what it is. Their own identity feels threatened. And because of that, systematically from when you were very, very young, they were doing their best to manipulate, to keep you down, to install certain limiting self-beliefs in order to keep you in this box, in order to keep you that small. Because if you were to actually like be outside of the box, all of this would be yours to an extent that would obliterate them. Because also when you are in this state and like you are living this life, they already saw that this person, this energy would no longer be part of your life, like completely cut out, like no contact, cut out, non-existent. And that is an even bigger threat to this energy, because to the outside world, they could use your successes to sort of brag about you and use that kind of success that you have in order to, how should I put this, to amplify their own strength or amplify their own ego. It's like my child has this and this and this, and like conversations with other parents or other people, and being like, oh, what did your child achieve? And then they're telling me like someone saying, oh, my child is a really, really gifted musician, and they're working at the grocery store right now to make their ends meet, and they're working on their music on the side, but also really, really dedicated, and they just found a studio, and like a proud parent of speaking about how their child is just like building themselves up and following their dream, and like this energy, this like mothering energy of being like, oh my God, that's so poor. That's just what I heard. Oh my God, that's so poor. What a horrible thing to say. What a horrible thing to say or to think even. But we're not here to speak about the more implications of that right now, because I could go off. But that's sort of like this feeling. So it was just like systematically this like slowly chipping away at your energy in order to prevent that kind of future. So you have been sabotaged in this way. With this offering card, I need to remind you, first of all, let's have another look at this. You see how this offering hand is offering to the darkness, right? Like this hand is surrounded by the dark, and all of the like light and color is outside of this. And this sort of is a representation of this like mothering energy around you. It's this kind of like fog that's present there. This fog that's, is fog the right word? No, it's really not. Dark cloud is better, actually. Yeah, it's like dark cloud that's present there, and it's I think it's very important for me to remind you that there was no way for you to prevent that from happening. That's really important for you to know, that there was no way for you to prevent that kind of like systematically chipping away from happening, because you were a child, my dear. Okay, you were a child. You did not and do not deserve this kind of treatment. And when you are a child and you grow up, not just in this particular environment, but when you grow up in general, you are so dependent on your environment, and that means your immediate caretakers to help you build emotional resiliency, to build an adequate sense of self and coping mechanisms and ways that you build up self-confidence to feel that whatever you want to create or achieve, you can, and also learning tools on healthily learning the skills needed in order to go after whatever you want. You are entirely dependent on your environment. So there was no way around you learning these kinds of patterns. That's really, really important for you to know, that you could not have done anything to prevent that. And from personal experience, because that in a way sounds a bit familiar what I'm saying here, or at least having one or more energies in my life that also had this kind of dynamic happening. Having this kind of realization sinking into your body and into your mind fully is a hard thing to accept, because for one thing, it can evoke feelings of complete helplessness, as well as a lot of rage and anger, because the people that were supposed to take care of you, because you were a baby, you were a child, were not capable of doing so with the best intentions. These emotions are sacred. And I mean, when I say sacred, that these emotions are your emotions to feel and process. It's sort of a wake-up call in a brutal way. It's a wake-up call because you yourself don't have this energy. You yourself have a very gentle and pure energy. You are someone who, if we go back to this example of someone of like this like grocery store encounter of this like mothering energy bragging and being like, oh my God, how poor, when the other parent is like proudly saying, hey, they're like really, really working hard at creating their dreams. They just have a different way of reaching that. You would never in a million years say how poor. Your response would be, oh my God, that's so amazing. Do they already have an album out, or are they posting their music somewhere? Come on, give me their socials. I love to look it up. And if they have had a concert, you might go there, you know, that's the kind of energy that you have. So these are complete polar opposites. So there is this feeling of complete shock that someone, like, there's a complete shock of how someone can be so deliberately cruel towards not just you, but in general towards another. Because like I said, this is an ancestral pattern. It's not just playing out in your life, and these emotions of like feeling helpless, this like helplessness and feeling this intense amount of anger, rage, which of course is also accompanied by a grief so very deep that these emotions have been present in your ancestral line as well, because there was always one energy like you, or someone who had these similar qualities as you, who was on this receiving end of this kind of energy, and it played out like cyclically. It played out, and for a very long time there has not been a cycle breaker. It's like there have been people coming into your family line, like getting incarnated into your family line, that came in with the intentions of being the cycle breakers. But the thing is, when we come into our lives, we forget our mission, so to speak. We forget why we came here. There's this veil of forgetfulness. And with that kind of energy and that kind of systematic shutdown, all of them got stuck in this. So all of them sort of, at some point, like, they knew they needed to get out of the box. For some of them never had the awareness, so they always lived their lives feeling incredibly small and unworthy of anything, and like not deserving of anything, and just like absolute, like a walking flaw, basically. Some of them realized that they needed to sort of get away, and they didn't succeed. So for a very, very long time, that's also why this energy has been so incredibly strong in your family, because for generations, this kind of energy was allowed to gather more strength and gather more strength and gather more strength and build up and build up and build up and build up. So this feels like overpowering almost to you. Like this energy feels almost overpowering in your ancestral line. But you are another cycle breaker, and you are here, and you are an energy, like you will succeed in this. I can already tell you that. You will succeed in this. You will succeed in obliterating this box. Obliterating this box completely, breaking free from that completely. You are the one that will succeed, and you are the one that will change this for your ancestral line. And by the way, I just heard some of you being like, I don't want kids. That's fine. You can change this for your ancestral line. You don't have to physically procreate in order to change your ancestral line. You doing that work for yourself is going to have a ripple effect all throughout your ancestral line. That means if you have siblings, for example, as well, and they will have children, that means that even their ancestral line is changed, even if your sibling did not do the same kind of work that you did, the same kind of inner work that you did. It doesn't matter. It's way more connected than that, way more connected than our physical understanding or biological understanding of chromosomes and procreation. Like the energy work that's going on in our world is not really that discovered, I will say. And I will leave my little rant at that. But anyway, you will be successful in doing that. That also means for you that there is a time in your life where this energy will be cut out. This like I already spoke about this, will be cut out, and there are different degrees of cutting this energy out. We will speak about that a bit later, where you will reconnect with your full prosperity. Because you are reconnecting to your full prosperity, to your full abundance, there will be abundance in all areas of your life. That means the partner of your dreams, a partner that actually matches you well, that is able to, I just heard 50-50 with you, so I guess some of you have been in relationships that have been very unbalanced. I'm just gonna say unbalanced here and not say the word that was on my mind. You will feel incredibly happy. You will have the home of your dreams, and this new beginning is there. Like, and will always be there for you, you know? Upgrade. You will upgrade your energy. It's like you will go through this kind of box and obliterating this box in stages. And it will be like one layer one, then, you know, like there will be a different kind of partner, a different kind of home, a different kind of job situation, different kind of new beginning. You will work your way through another layer, and then there will be another one, you know, like another new beginning waiting for you, where the environment that's coming in, it's also important for you to know that as you are going through this kind of work, you will, at the end of it, look back at it, and it will be different stages, and you will find that your friendships, your partnerships, your romantic partnerships, if you do engage in them, because I feel like some of you are not, it's not your vibe, and perfectly fine, doesn't matter. Then let's say maybe your colleagues, or, you know, like just in general, your social environment, as well as your working conditions, the money that you're making, the job that you're working in, the environment that's present there, your health, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional health, are going to shift in stages. And it shifts in stages because each time that you're releasing a specific limiting belief, you will meet new people that match the level where you're at. This means they are people who are in line with the new beliefs that you have about yourself, what's possible for you to do, how you see yourself, how much you love yourself. But they will also, at the same time, trigger certain limiting beliefs in you that are still present. And these are opportunities for you to go into the next layer, you know? So it's kind of like the universe and your ancestors are helping you up the stairs, you know? And you can think of it like a staircase, where like each step is like another person maybe triggering you in a specific way, and this triggering you is always a representation of a limiting belief that's still present here, and that happened throughout your life and your ancestral line, and that's there for you to then obliterate, release, and that's the next step. And they also want me to make it very clear that all of these layers that you see here is not a direct representation of the amount of work that you need to do. So you don't have, I don't know how many layers there are, and I'm too lazy to count, 20 layers or something, you know? It's not like that. And it's not going to feel as like one step, it's not going to feel like step by step. It's not going to feel like that. You're going to notice that there was a step by step when you look back at it. While you're in it, it's going to feel like a spiral. Okay? Like an upward spiral, where along the way you will catch yourself reacting differently in certain situations and realizing, oh, okay, I've grown actually here. Okay. That already was a lot, and we still have quite a few more cards to go. Let's have a look at, actually, let me leave the strength card up here, because that's you, like your strength. And actually, as I'm looking at this, they're drawing my attention to all of the baby lines that are present here. And they say this like kind of strength is, it feels like, oh, also, well, side note, you see how there's a blue butterfly here, and it's also present in the happiness card. This speaks about this transformation, like blue butterflies. I mean, butterflies are always a symbol of transformation, but the blue ones specifically speak about like radical changes. But with these like baby lions here, they want to draw my attention to that, because they're saying feeling strong in yourself is something that is sort of new for you. It's not something that you have felt a lot. And to allow this strength to build up within yourself. Okay, you don't need to look at this and be like, oh my God, there's no way I'm able to do this kind of work. You're not starting from the very, very tippy top. You're starting step by step, and along the way you're going to build it up. I just want to put, I just really want to put these two up there for you to see. Okay. Now I'm very curious because I pulled some cards to speak about the journey of this ancestral pattern, but I feel like we have already been looking at that a lot. Also, you did get a lot of cards in general. We have the Child of Spells. Okay, actually maybe I need to move this over here after all for space reasons. Oh, we don't want to see that one. That's not your energy. We don't need that here. The Child of Visions. Yeah, alright. It's just gonna be, we're gonna be quicker through this, I guess. White World. We have the Huntsman. We have the Sunlight. We have the 10 of Challenges. We have the 3 of Visions. Oh dear, we have the 10 of Spells. I only say oh dear because take a moment and look at the imagery. Okay. We have the 4 of Boons. And we have 2 more cards. We have the 6 of Spells. And we have, this was bottom deck energy, and you got another strength card is what I want to say here, okay? You got another strength card. Let me change this around a bit, because you have so many cards when it comes to this, okay. And let me move this a bit. So the first cards speak about what we already touched on. When we have here the Child of Spells, this is an energy that speaks about someone who is very a magical child, actually. Look at this. It's a magical child that goes out into the forest to just sort of practice their magic, There's this childlike enthusiasm, exuberance, and this feeling of confidence of yeah, sure, I can do that. Why not? Because this child has not learned any limitations yet. And it's accompanied by the Child of Visions, who is actually a child, look at this, who is a child that got lost in the forest, but you see she's having fun, she's having a good time and just focusing on her immediate surroundings and this playfulness energy, playful energy, and seeing the magic in everything, seeing the magic even in getting lost in the woods and not too worried. Children, when it comes to this, they're not too worried. There's so many beautiful things to discover inside the forest, and there's this feeling of feeling safe, exploration. It's a very, very free spirit presented in these 2 cards. We got this paired with the White World, and in this particular deck, the White World speaks about, so the Fool card is a representation of this white hair bringing you into this enchanted forest. And then as you go through this enchanted forest, you are experiencing different stages of your adventure, so to speak, And once you go through that, you come out of this, and that's what this card represents, out of this enchanted forest into this wide rolling hills on your way to the new enchanted forest. And in the context of your reading, this card speaks of this abundance of opportunities that are open for you, or that were open. I don't want to say were open, because they are open. It's just that you yourself at the moment don't realize that they are open for you. So, if they're not blocked, it feels more like a congestion of your mind to perceive them. That's I think the best way to put it, because blocked already feels so harsh, and it's also not true. It's there's like a congestion happening. It's, kind of like a stuffed nose when you are sick and have the flu. That's the kind of imagery that's connected to this, where these opportunities. It's also these opportunities that you were envisioning, like all of this is possible for me. We have the huntsman here, and this is interesting to me because usually this card represents a very benevolent kind of energy, but in your particular reading, it doesn't. This huntsman card, I need to change my camera battery. I'll be right back, actually. So this huntsman card speaks about a judgment that is suspended, where it's like an energy that watches what unfolds and intervenes when necessary. And this is the representation of this like mothering energy of cutting down and shutting down after they've seen something very specific. And that's the representation of this card here. We have the sunlight, which again is this representation, even just in imagery. When you look at the prosperity card, it's a similar kind of imagery, where you have this golden light pouring in, all of this abundance that's present there. It's there. All of this abundance that's present. And it's also the story of you were childlike, or you going on any kind of endeavor that you have done so in your life. Let me paint you this picture. You wanted to do something, you wanted to create something, you wanted to achieve something. And with this like childlike innocence, you went on your journey and you were like, how hard can it be? Let's just give it a go and see what happens. And you had this vision of what you wanted to create, and you were successful to some degree. You were successful, you created what you wanted to create. So, you broke sort of like through all of these self-doubts, and you created something regardless, to your liking. That's the representation of, like achieving and getting some kind of opportunity. This energy intervenes, comes in, this like mothering energy intervenes, comes in, because they saw the kind of abundance and opportunity that was, or the payoff that was headed your way. And instead of celebrating you for this kind of opportunity, they shut you down verbally. You see this here? This is this representation, and it's like this kind of it's a conversation pattern, a pattern of interaction that I just spoke of, where you were excited about something and you shared it with them, and immediately they shut it down. And it's this feeling of you can't do anything right, this feeling of feeling utterly defeated. When you look at this knight here, he is coming from battle. His sword down here is split in half, utterly exhaustion. And there's this feeling of, and I mean, it's also right, like position-wise, right underneath the box, there's this feeling of feeling utterly defeated, because you can't ever do anything right. There's also another pattern that's highlighted for you to pay attention to. Each time that there is something to celebrate, because that's what the Three of Visions here represents, each time there is something to celebrate, there's also an inability to allow things to be good, just in general, and to be good or merry. So each time there is or was a celebration happening of any kind, okay, that can be holidays, it can be birthdays, it can be maybe someone getting a promotion, someone's getting married, or anything like a child being born into the family, anything. Anytime there was some sort of celebration or like marry coming together, there was always a lot of drama, and there was always a lot of drama unfolding, and this energy, this like mothering energy always intervenes in a way that makes everyone feel like this Ten of Spells. Because in this deck, the Ten of Spells speaks about these sisters getting lost in the fairy world for a bit. Fairies are in this deck depicted as energies that are dancing and celebrating a lot, but having a different timeline and different stamina than humans do. So what for them feels normal and dancing for days on end, for the human body too exhausted. And they were finally capable of slipping away from that kind of energy, like leaving this fairy ring and just feeling exhausted and feeling like, what the fuck just happened? There's this feeling of being blindsided almost over and over again and needing to pick up the pieces again. And at the same time, with the Four of Boons, this speaks about this like scarcity mindset, or it speaks about this energy. And it is the representation as well of this mothering energy of like, no one is allowed to have fun but me. Like particularly when this energy is not around, holy moly. You better downplay that when you're speaking to them. That's the kind of energy that's like coming through. And again, like this has been playing out ancestrally, psychically. And these two I actually need to change because this was bottom deck energy, and I remember. And we have Six of Spells as another confirmation. Oh, that's so sweet. They're giving me a different message with this one. So the initial message that I wanted to give you about this particular card is that in this moment, this wizard was able to hatch and nurture this wyvern, and it's not an easy feat to do. So people come from far and wide to this wizard to congratulate. You see, there's like a lot of happiness here. Congratulations. You did so incredibly well. We're so proud of you. We're so happy that this wyvern is now in this life. And the message that your ancestors want to give you and bring through to me is, you are the wyvern, and all of these energies are your ancestors. And they've waited for someone like you for generations. They've waited for someone to come in and take on this ancestral work and obliterate the box for generations. And finally, you came here. You're finally here. You're finally here to help us do this kind of work. Thank you so much for volunteering. Thank you so much for coming. We know this is so painful. We're here with you. Thank you. I feel like taking a moment because that was actually straight channeled, and I'm like I'm crying a bit. Give me a moment, okay? Okay. With the second strength card, they're highlighting your strength. And every single ancestor of yours who has been present in this and has endured and continued to live also had a lot of strength. And all of the strength of endurance has built up and is present in you, even if you don't feel like it right now. Trust me, it's there. Give it a little bit of time and you're going to see how much it's really there. You're going to see it play out in your life. And as always, it's difficult to see the full experience while you're in it. Once you're through it, or once you're through certain stages and you're going to look back, you're going to be so proud of yourself for the kind of work that you've done, and you're really going to see and recognize your strength. Give it some time. Give yourself some time. Okay, that's all they have about the story. Let's have a look at how you can actually heal this pattern, because, that's really important. And I know this is a really long reading, but the ancestor messages, I do them once a year, so I don't like to restrict them. If they want me to channel for an hour is my max. I'm after an hour, guys, come on, wrap it up. But if they want me to channel for a long time, I'm okay with that. It's once a year. Once a year, they're allowed to come through me for however much they want. All right, we have a few cards here. We have honesty. And we have Ilby the Retriever. We have self-care. Take care of your wonderful self first. Then we have choose love. We have focus, productivity, and creativity with rainbow fluorite. We have Isis, goddess of magic and love. And you got one extra. You got the card of rest. I actually do need to make space because we have more cards. Now, let me just put it like this, I guess. We have two more for you. We have, the Chamber of the Violet Flame, Karmic Release, Radical Transformations. And we have, sort of light, Divine Protection, Quartz Cut, Breakthrough Energy. Remember how earlier I said we're going to speak about cutting the cords a little bit more later? I guess we're going to speak about this in a second. So, how can you release this kind of energy? Or how can you obliterate the box? With honesty and Ilba the Retriever, there needs to be honesty with yourself. And what I mean by that is you need to have a willingness to see the limiting beliefs, a willingness to see, because limiting beliefs are not just thought forms, right? Limiting beliefs, or let's say our thoughts, our mind rules our life, because from limiting beliefs stem particular patterns of behavior, of let's say some self-sabotaging that kicks in. And there is a certain, let's say, controlled way of expressing yourself, within the limitations, within the confines of the box, there's a certain way that you are allowing yourself to be, certain opportunities that you allow yourself to go for, certain relationships you allow yourself to cultivate and live in. And there needs to be a willingness from your end to see the limiting beliefs, the limiting patterns, to see the connections, as well as how certain beliefs that you have seen or patterns that you saw modeled in your parents, for example, or your caretakers, how certain patterns are repeating in your own life. So there needs to be the honesty of yourself to see that, because you are to some extent living out this kind of pattern. And I don't mean that you are using this kind of dark energy of this sensitivity to harm others. That's not what I'm speaking of. If there's some element present, for example, when you're fighting with someone and you are verbally lashing out to a degree that surprises you afterwards. That could be one element that's present, but it's nowhere near the same extent as this, because you don't have the same intentions either. For you, it's more like a conditioned, like conditioned learning, like a conditioned response, so to speak. And all of this is something that you can undo, but there needs to be first and foremost the willingness, the honesty to want to see the full picture, to not run away from the pain, and not run away from the accountability, the self-accountability, because you cannot change that kind of mothering energy. You can't change that. You can only change and control what you are doing, how you are reacting, and how you are moving forward. That's the only area they want you to focus on, is you. How is this affecting you? How is it playing out in your life? And then we have this paired with the retriever. And remember, in the very beginning with the offering, I said there was a loss of sense of self. Time to retrieve it. And again, this sounds very abstract when I say that, but let me make this very clear, this process very clear. Because you see here, you have the number 40 for honesty, and you have the retriever with number 41. And it's literally the next step. So it sounds abstract, but let me clarify. Once you do see a specific pattern in yourself, the way to retrieve the piece of yourself is the piece that would, let's say, in a fight. So I needed to drink something and clear my throat, which also, by the way, means something like the example that I just gave with you sort of like verbally lashing out. I think for quite a few of you, that might be a case that you're handling conflict. But that's beside the point. I spoke about how this is the next step, the honesty and the retriever. And it's like this. Each time that you are noticing a specific pattern in yourself, the next step is the retrieval. And the retrieval looks like processing the emotions of the surrounding the pattern. You could do that, by the way. I mean, I'm biased. I'm an EFT practitioner, but it really is a great tool. And it's also a great tool to work with a practitioner, but also to tap on by yourself. You can find a manual, by the way, and some more information on eftinternational.org. That's, a little note that needed to come through. Actually, I might put it down in the description box for you as a resource. So if you're interested in that, have a look at that. To process these emotions, and throughout this journey, you're gonna see that everything is sort of connected like a spider web. And the soul retrieval, or this retrieval of your sense of self, is going to happen each time that you have unraveled, released the emotions, and understood more about the pattern. And this is very important. Choose a different response. You're going to notice throughout this healing journey that you will have situations repeating one by one, even with different people. And you're going to find yourself in similar situations that you did, let's say, 3 months ago, or a year ago, or 2 years ago. You're going to find yourself in similar situations, and you're going to have the choice to do something different, to react in a different way, to react in a way that you've never reacted before. And that is the separation from this pattern, like bit by bit, bit by bit. They're showing me someone. Okay, that's really funny. So you see this twine here, this thread, right? And usually it's like really nicely and tidy, and they're showing me kind of like each time that you are making a different choice, you are sort of like unraveling this and taking like the different strands. You see, I have like 3 strands here. That's it was very visual. That's how they're showing it to me. So each time that you are choosing differently and you're reacting differently, that is this like retrieval of your soul, the retrieval of this new sense of self, or this old sense of self, I should say. Because each time that you're choosing that, you're choosing an option that is coming from deep within, that's grounded in this in this kind of light, you know? So that is the soul retrieval. That is this aspect here that's on a broader scale, on a bigger scale. We also got some more advice that's a bit more, I will say like a bit easier to grasp, which is self-care. Take care of your wonderful self first. Because listen, if you've been told that you are not worthy of prosperity or worthy of wonderful things in your life, there is a feeling of feeling unworthy. And one aspect where that comes out very strongly is always with the way that you take care of yourself, or that we take care of ourselves, I should say. So take care of yourself. And that means eating in a way that supports your body. That means exercising in a way that supports your body, or moving in a way that supports your body to whatever capabilities your body has. Allow yourself to sleep enough and sleep well, sleep hygiene, and choose love, like loving interactions. These loving interactions are also in the way that you are speaking to yourself. When you want to go for a new opportunity, are you shutting yourself down preemptively? It's a question I want to ask you. It's a question I want you to ask yourself. Pay attention. Notice to the way that you speak to yourself, the way that you think about yourself. This is also key to the limiting beliefs, because there's an internalization of that kind of voice that shuts everything down. So even when this energy isn't around, there is sort of like this shutdown. There's this high, and then there is this extreme low happening from the mindscape. There's that kind of pattern is presence coming through. We have focus, productivity, and creativity. You are very creative, and you have not allowed yourself to fully live that. Reconnect with your creativity. And you can start with something that you wanted to do or that you liked doing when you were a child. See how that feels for you. To just take out a piece of paper and whatever pen you got and start drawing, for example. It doesn't need to be good. That's very important here. It doesn't need to be a good drawing. It just needs to get the creative juices flowing. Okay, you don't need to show it to anybody. You don't need to post it anywhere. It's just for you. That can be like a really big part of your practice. And then after you've created that, by the way, you can then look at this and say, oh my God, I had so much fun creating this. Good job for taking the time to nurture that. And that in itself, to give yourself this kind of positive feedback of saying good job for sitting down and creating that, and good job for engaging in an activity that was fun for you. That already is healing in itself. Just as one statement, good job for doing that. Self-healing. Please apply that if you can, obviously. Please apply that in any of your situations. Any time you're creating or you're cooking something that's healthy for you, nourishing, you ate that, you're like, oh, good job for nourishing yourself well. You go to sleep on time. Oh, good job for going to sleep on time. You're moving your body in some way. Good job for moving. You know, like all of these ways, this is something that will radically already start to shift things for you, because we're speaking about the radical inner shift. And these two came out together, so they're one message. I spoke about the creativity here, and I want to draw my attention to this like slowly opening of the flower, because you doing that will allow yourself to blossom. You infusing this creativity of yours with this act of love and speaking lovingly will allow your creativity to take off and blossom. So even if you don't feel super creative now, or you don't know that you're an artist now, as you're creating and just create for the sake of creating, and you're speaking kindly to yourself, you're going to be surprised by the kind of gifts and talents that you will uncover. And we have rest here. Listen, allow yourself to sleep it off. Allow yourself to rest. It's kind of deep work. We're speaking about deep work, speaking about exhausting work. We're speaking about like emotionally exhausting. Okay, it's not easy to look at these things. It's not easy to make different choices. It's not easy to be conscious so much, to watch the patterns play out. It's not an easy work, not an easy job to do. Allow yourself time and space to rest, okay? You don't need to work on this tirelessly without resting. Resting is part of it. You deserve rest. With the Sword of Light, that's very clear. We already spoke about cords cutting cords. There may come a time in your life, and I say there may because it's your choice, where you will find yourself in the position to decide whether or not you want to keep this mothering energy in your life. And you may come to the conclusion that the best way for you to protect yourself and move forward is to completely cut them out of your life. Maybe the case for some of you. If that's the case, good job for you. If you decide to take a different route of cutting cords, here are some examples what you could do. The first thing to do is to become a bit of a gray rock. That's a term that's been coined through recovering from narcissistic abuse. So if you're interested in that, just look up gray rock narcissism. It basically means that you become the most boring person in the world or in the entire universe and galaxies. The most boring, bland person when you are around this mothering energy. That means when they tell you what's been going on with you, you don't give them information. You just say, yeah, everything's fine. Everything's going good. Nothing to talk about. When they want to provoke you, they say something and they want to hear your opinion about it, and they want to, hear your opinion sort of as a little bait that they're throwing you to reel you in. You're like, oh, actually, I haven't really thought about that. I don't have an opinion on that. Become boring, really dull, don't give them any information. That's one way of cutting them out without physically cutting them out. It's sort of shutting them out, if you will. One way of doing that. Another way could be to severely limit your interactions to, don't know how you're flying, maybe you only see them on holidays or whatever. You can also combine this with gray rock, or go through the journey of doing that one by one. You can also do some cord cutting meditations, by the way. You'll find those on YouTube plenty, and cut energetic cords. It's also something that you might want to do. You can do that as well without cutting them physically out of your life. It's just that you are no longer affected by their energy. You can also work with some energy protection against them, where you are visualizing. One of my favorite ones to do is visualizing a protective bubble surrounding myself in a golden color, but you will also find guided meditations surrounding that. Or if you're interacting with them, for example, and you feel that they are getting too close to you, I will say, you can also envision a barrier of light between the two of you and deliberately say, I'm not taking on that energy, that's theirs. You can do all of these energetic measures to start to separate your energy from theirs without them knowing about it, So that's something that's coming through. And for the Chamber of the Violet Flame, they want me to read it because there is a meditation connected to this violet flame, or Chamber of the Violet Flame, because this is an energetic space that you can visit through meditation. And they want me to read that. And already they want you to visit that. So they want you to look up a meditation about visiting the Chamber of Violet Flame. So we got Chamber of the Violet Flame, Karmic Release, Radical Transformation. The Violet Flame is a spiritual retreat center. That's not what it says. The Violet Flame is a spiritual retreat space that holds a powerful energy of transformation and transmutation. It can be visited in meditation and invoked through prayer and affirmation. Spiritually, it is seen within a chamber, often as a giant roaring flame and sometimes with silver and gold shining through the violet. When we connect with the violet flame, we are being given the opportunity to detach from lower vibrational experiences and turn darkness into light. Ultimately, this is the gateway of alchemy. Alchemy is the art of turning lead into gold, and so from an energetic perspective, the violet flame is where we place all that is laden and heavy in our life and turn it into golden opportunity. Connect. Visualize a fiery violet light streaming down from the heavens and washing over your entire life. Set the intention that you are willing to transmute all fear and experience light once more. Set the intention that you are willing to transmute all fear and experience light once more. Your message. When you receive this card, know that the violet flame of transformation has been brought to you by your angels and guides. They are encouraging you to see that you are in a space of radical transformation. Transformation can be overwhelming, but know the hand of the divine is leading the way. All past trauma is now being cleared from your energy. Stay focused on releasing all of the energies that are no longer serving you. The violet flame is here to transmute fear into love. If any fear is rising up inside you now, know that it is simply a call for love. Call in the strongest form of love you know, and allow those in your inner circle to support you through this transformational time. You are an alchemist, with the capacity to take all the latent aspects of your life and turn them into golden opportunities. You can align your life with the divine plan now and live in a more purposeful way. The ability to turn any situation into a golden opportunity is your core frequency. We spoke about this with the elephant card. And I feel like leaving the reading here. It has been incredibly long, I know that. Thank you for still listening. And I only have one last thing to say to you. There are 2 extra resources coming your way connected to this reading. The first one will be an EFT tapping session to help release some of these heavy energies. And the second one will be a Reiki treatment, about 30 minutes, where we will heal this pattern, release this pattern, and we will also send some Reiki to the past throughout your ancestral line. If that's out already, you will find it in the pinned comment down below. And if not, it's going to come later. Okay, from the moment that you're watching this, it's going to come out next week. The EFT tapping is going to come on Monday, I believe, and the Reiki is going to come on Thursday or Friday. All right. That's what I have for you today. Take wonderful care of yourselves. I'm so proud of you for being here and doing this kind of work. And I'm rooting for you. You got this. As messy as this might be and as messy as this might feel, as someone who's on the other side of that, you got this. You absolutely got this. Have a beautiful rest of your day today. Bye. If you felt drawn to the beautiful tiger card or your greenish leaf that now looks super crunchy, because it took a while to record everything, then welcome to your reading. And let's have a look actually at your tiger card first, because I didn't tell you prior to picking, but this tiger card is a representation of you and your energy and where you're at. So let's talk a little bit about the tiger. The tiger energy is an energy that is very, very grounded in the divine feminine and the feminine energy. What does that mean? It means someone who is incredibly creative, has a lot of abundance, like rooted and grounded in abundance, as someone who is very receptive, very perceptive. And it represents sort of this... the yin energy of the yin yang. So it also connects to themes of manifestation. It connects to themes of being in flow, of being grounded in your intuition. This card in particular in the guidebook speaks also about the lunar force and your abilities to work with moon magic. You see the little moon here. And there is a certain energy of being at ease in darkness. And what do I mean by that? With that, I mean that the tiger is an animal that is hunting at night, primarily. So they are engulfed in darkness and their sight is incredibly sharp so that they can still hunt and successfully hunt. And, you know, darkness also is a time of day or a space, I will say, that a lot of people are incredibly afraid of, where most people try to avoid it. And you have sort of a natural proclivity for handling these kinds of situations. In hindsight as well, or the other side of the coin, I should say, is that there was or is a period in your life where things were or are quite dark for a while. Because that's a skill that you sort of learn and you develop along the way. It's like the more you are exposed to it, the more that you master it. Because when things are dark surrounding you, the only thing you can rely on is your own intuition, and it's a way to sharpen your senses. And let's see how that ties into the reading, because that's the information that wanted to come through for the Tiger card. One thing I already sort of know that we're going to speak about, because I did hear like a general theme when I pulled your cards, and we will speak a little bit about some relationship patterns today. Now, let's have a look. I'm going to pop this up here. You got a lot of cards, by the way. Your cards just popped out, like your ancestors were locked and loaded for this reading. I asked for 2 cards and I got 5 for you. So, and this is sort of a theme throughout the reading when it comes to the cards that I picked for you. It doesn't matter. So these cards are a representation of the kind of pattern that your ancestors want to talk about today. Yeah, so we have the card of the heart. We have the desert. We have the card of the comic. We have, the siren. Even the colors so far, and we got the forest. Okay, and they're telling me to read the forest. Shall I read it first? Okay, I just heard yes, so let's go ahead and read the forest first to you. They just said that it's gonna paint the picture. Okay, let's see. Let's see what they mean by that. I already sort of have an idea, but let's see. Yeah. So, the forest. The woods, the thicket, the jungle. Consider for a moment your earliest memory of the forest. It's likely it included all the mythic dynamics of this archetypal space. A little fear, a little enchantment, perhaps losing your way, perhaps discovering a secret mystical treasure. Such is the magic of the forest. It requires first that you enter it, and then that you get lost within it. You may think there is a path that leads you straight through, but soon enough you'll be on what is known as the pathless path. There are tricksters here, dense foliage and entanglement. But equally present are the glimmers of fairy light and friends among the trees. You're on an adventure now, and there's no turning back. So embrace the dim light and the moving shadows. Whether literal or imaginal, brave the forest and get lost, getting found. And then let me see what's on the side here, if that's relevant. Yeah, this one. If you get out of the forest without feeling lost, you're only in a little grove of trees. The great archetypal forest requires we spend at least one night frightened for our life. And this forest card is the back of the deck energy, so of like the this pattern. So basically this gives the tonality to the rest of the cards that we have here. So that's interesting to me because I already spoke about the like ease and darkness and how this is something that's developed throughout a particular time in your life where you are in this space, and the only thing that you can rely on are your intuitive senses to move you through. And we have this paired with the heart and the desert. And I'm getting like two message lines here that are connected. One is about your home life growing up and something that you witnessed. And the second aspect is how it's affecting how you are going about romantic relationships more specifically. But let me put it together for you. So with the heart, this card here, you see that there is a couple there, but this card also speaks about the feeling of home, or the home, the center of your soul. And in this context of the home and with the desert, I got this image that your home space was, how should I say this? I believe maybe one or more of your parents, if they were together at all, had a specific way of going about romantic relationships that left you out in the cold, in the sense of you were not their focus. Okay, their focus was these romantic encounters. And for one thing, it's something that you have witnessed as you were growing up, and it has shaped how you yourself are sort of putting romantic relationships at the center of your life and at the center of your home. So that's something that they want to speak about. And for some others of you, your parents were together, but you witnessed that regardless, right? So we got some infidelity happening here because that was not a like inherently open relationship. And this feeling with like the heart and the desert is like you have witnessed that and you have felt kind of lost, it's like in this desert picture, it's like you were trying to reach out, you were trying to connect to your caregiver, but it was not met with success, where basically you were left to fend for yourself, you were left to fend on your own to certain extents. I'm getting like different stages. For some of you, there was a total abandonment where you even had to take care of your own food and like get your own food and make sure that you actually eat. And for some of you, it was like this feeling of being left out in the cold is more on an emotional level, where your physical needs were taken care of, the basics were taken care of, but emotionally this caregiver was completely checked out. So that's what I mean, like the abandonment is sort of a bit of a sliding scale for everyone who's watching this right now. And as a result of that, you have become a bit of a comic. So in order to sort of deal with this situation and in order to alchemize your experiences, you have become a bit of a comic. And the comic is actually a wonderful card to get, because the comic is someone who has absolutely great observational skills, and they're able to turn something that is heavy into a joke, into something that is hitting the nail on the head while also providing some comedic relief, and it's easy to sort of forget that the comic does have this deep observational skills and also this deep sensitivity, because without the sensitivity, you wouldn't be able to hit the nail on the head. There's a fine line between a joke or telling a story and giving it the right punchline so that everyone, even though they know it's a serious topic, still feels this kind of relief and feels seen, and completely offending someone and making them feel like they have been bulldozed and made fun of. It's a very thin line, and you walk that line incredibly well. So there is this great sensitivity happening there at your core, which I'm not surprised, because like I said, with a tiger, it's this like feminine energy. This is this receptivity that we're speaking of. At the same time, being someone who is so sensitive as you are, and I say sensitive, I feel like some of you just almost like cringed a bit there. That's the right word. Because you've been called sensitive so many times in your life, always with a negative connotation. And I don't mean it with a negative connotation whatsoever, okay? Sensitivity is a gift. Sensitivity is a gift, and you do have an open heart, and you always had an open heart. Even when you're going through that, while you were going through that, like you never really lost your open heart. You maybe felt like it was closed a bit, or like it was like less open than usual, but you always at your core had this kind of open heart. When you felt like you shut down, you sort of just put up protective layers, but you still felt everything, you know. It was just more like a barrier to the outside world, so that others thought that you didn't feel, but you did still feel. So you always had this kind of open heart. And like being this sensitive is very difficult in growing up in an environment as this, because first of all, your observational skills, you saw things very, very clearly, which first of all, people who are doing some shady things, obviously not the biggest fan of that, so they try to shut it down. And with these observational skills as well, you sort of, it's like intuitively you knew what was happening and what was going on, but naturally, because you were small, you did not have the physical or mental capacity to fully navigate that, and that's perfectly fine, you know? Like, your sensitivity allowed you to see and feel what was happening, and the person in charge did not like that, because they didn't like to be called out, or they didn't like to feel inferior. There's a huge, like in their energy, there is a huge, I just heard black hole of insecurity. There's like a black hole of insecurity that they try to fill up with other people, like using other people. This, like I said, these kind of romantic encounters is what's coming through here. And you saw that. So I feel like in your teenage years, you did have quite a lot of fights with that caregiver about that kind of topic, and was not pretty. All right. I'm going to leave that situation in the past, and we're going to look a little bit at how this affected you and still affects you now. We have the siren. And the siren is an energy that is alluring. The siren, as the archetype, is an energy that is romantically speaking very alluring. And it is an energy that draws partners in without a lot of effort. There is a magnetic attraction happening to this kind of energy. And you have this kind of energy, for better and for worse. And I say for better and for worse is because I just heard you are at different stages of this like siren journey. For some of you, you are living out this kind of pattern a bit of having this romantic center, having the focus of your life be on this like romantic relationships, because it's what was modeled to you, and it's also what's modeled like hugely in our society to some extent, that you need to partner up and you need to buddy up, and like all of these ideas and ideals that are depicted. Even when you just look at every single holiday that we have, at least in the Western world, where it's like a large focus on relationships, like romantic relationships, familial relationships as well. It's that kind of feeling, and it always comes with this connotation that if you don't have anybody, you are a nobody. You know, so you always got to have somebody. It's that kind of energy that's connected to this. And some of you, like I said, there's a spectrum here. Some of you have already lived through that stage and are sort of at the end stage of it, and some of you are more in the thick of it. Remember, we spoke about the jungle. There was a moment of getting lost in the sauce, of getting lost in the jungle and being frightened and not knowing what's going on and being on this like pathless path. And that's something that they want to highlight. Now, I also said that for better or for worse, there is this magnetic attraction to you. when we speak about the aspect of for worse, it's even when you decided you didn't want to date, you still had people showing up. And because you're someone that is very sensitive and walks around with a big open heart, you are also attracting some people that are, I'm going to say, not the most beneficial for you. They're not the best matches for you. And because of your open heart, more often than not, you have decided that you want to help them. And it's coming from this like inner child space of being wounded and trying to resolve this sort of ancestral pattern through living it out by yourself and trying to make different choices that your caregiver could have done. And it's like, there are many different ways to go about handling this ancestral pattern like that. One would be to go to therapy, for example. Another one would be to focus more on your inner work. And this route that's depicted here is of trying to attract someone in that is sort of a replica of the kind of romantic partners that you saw your caregiver have. And then trying to, with this replica, trying to build a relationship that is healthier. And it doesn't work. Like each time you're like falling flat on your face, flat on your face. It's very early morning here, I can't speak it. Flat on your face, because that's not like the person that you're trying to build like healthy relationships with themselves, they are not healthy and they are not at that mind space. So it's something that's doomed to fail from the start. You know, but, and you've been wondering, like, why are these people showing up for me again and again? It's like, what am I doing wrong here? And you're not doing something inherently wrong. It's when people and relationships or these patterns return and return like in a cyclic way in our lives, means that there's some healing that needs to be done. So we will look deeper into the message that your your ancestors have for you. And we're going to leave actually the forest right here. I feel like that's our starting point, and we're going to put this one up here. And we're going to look, remember how I said they gave you so many cards? I did ask for maybe 4 or something, and I got also a lot. So anyway, we got the card of abundance. We got voyage, or voyage, however you want to say it. We got healing chaos. I think that's the best depiction. We have wisdom. We have pleasure. We have protection. And we're running out of space. We have fulfillment. We have stillness. And we have, this is bottom deck energy. Excuse me. This is bottom deck energy with the card of freedom. Let me move this. I mean, first of all, it's like your ancestors knew just exactly how many cards would fit onto my table in one setting. So that's kind of funny. And the message that they have here is about like healing this kind of pattern through turning this outward focus inwards. What do I mean by that? We spoke about this like black hole of insecurity, of wanting to fill that inner void by using romantic relationships in order to feel validated and to feel loved, seen, and valuable. And there's this need to turn this outward focus inward. So basically, in a nutshell, whatever you desire to feel, whatever you desire to receive, as an imagery or as a way of being treated, you give that to yourself. Technically, I could end the reading here because that's the core message when it comes to this. But we will look a little bit deeper because, they might have some more gems, and I also have some more healing cards to pull and the story connected to that. But let's see. With the abundance here, it's interesting that they chose this card, and also they chose the deck that I used because I have a couple out. Because this particular abundance card speaks about the wildflowers that are depicted here. And it's the wildflowers that are growing wild. They are growing anywhere. It's, you can be in the city and there's a crack in the pavement and some kind of wildflower will grow there. It speaks about an incredible resilience, and it also speaks about the beauty of wildflowers, where it's this untamed kind of energy of allowing something to just be what it is and allowing something to develop as it is. Allowing something to come into bloom as it is. And it's this inner drive, right? I mean, when you think about the one that's like in the crack of the pavement, no one's taking care of that flower. No one is, from the outside perspective, until it blooms, like no one is anticipating that either. There is this like inner life force of this wildflower that pushes it through this pavement and like allows it to like grow the roots deeper, to find some soil and find all of the nutrients that it needs in order to grow. And there's like this self-sufficiency and this like blooming for blooming's sake, but like just blooming by itself for itself without the need for any outside sources to I don't have the word for this. I'm really sorry. Because it's not like outside source to validate. It's just like no one from the outside. Maybe that's the permission. Thank you so much. Okay, so these wildflowers are blooming and blossoming without anyone else's permission. It's they gave themselves the permission to grow, bud, and blossom. It's that energy. Like giving yourself this permission, because listen, you do have all of this love to give, and when you are turning that inwards, oh my Lord, are you going to blossom? Wow. Okay, we got the journey card next, the voyage, and I feel like I actually need to pair this with like healing chaos as well. When you look at this Healing Chaos card, you see that there are all of these butterflies here around this tornado. And this speaks about you being on this journey of, remember how I said that you were or are engaging in these romantic relationships and trying to change this kind of pattern, but from the outside in, and you're like falling flat on your face again and again. And it's this kind of like spiral energy that's present, and you are on this journey to heal this right now. And you may think you're alone, but like I said, this is an ancestral pattern. Like you witnessed that in your caregiver, but your caregiver also witnessed that in their own like parental caregiver role. It's been going on as a cycle for generations and generations and generations. If you add, because we're talking about, this does not need to be the feminine energy in your caregiver role, but we are talking about like feminine energy. If we take, for example, patriarchy into the mix of this, and the like need for validation when it comes to men and women, you got like a whole new storm brewing there as well, because these kind of roles and patterns have been ingrained into us for centuries, so I just heard them say you are fighting the good fight. You are going through this like this little spiral. You are on this journey, and you are being like guided by your ancestors throughout this journey, even though it doesn't feel like it to you sometimes. But they're actually the ones that send you some of the romantic interests. And if you want to tell them, please pick better people, feel free to. You can tell them off for it. The reason they're bringing these people is, like I said, like in the spiral, like they're bringing this sort of like healing chaos to show you, hey, there's something to address here. There's something to address here. Please heal this. Please heal this. Please heal this. And what's also true is, like, each time that you have been in one of those encounters or relationships, when you've come out of it, you have already gained a lot more wisdom. It's like you are repeatedly going through the same situation over and over again to sharpen your observational skills. Remember, I spoke about that when we talked about the comic. And it's like each time that you're going through this situation, you're noticing like a new string attached, like a new kind of connection, a new kind of detail about this kind of attachment and about this kind of pattern. You know, it's like, that's also why they're coming back. It's not just to be like, hey, please heal this, but it's also they are giving you opportunity after opportunity to see the finer details about how everything in this is connected. You know, it's like, because there's so many emotions involved in this, it can be difficult to sort of have this clear view on it, particularly when we ourselves are involved in this kind of relationship, with like all of these ups and downs. So they're bringing it back for you to notice something new, you know, and it's like this little puzzle piece, like putting all of these pieces together, and you're acquiring a lot of wisdom throughout this journey. This is also, they want me to speak a little bit about cultivating the inner stillness. I mean, we also have the card stillness back here, but I'm like, these two are connected. I'm going to bring that through. You see here in the wisdom card, there is a mermaid at the bottom of the ocean. And you know, the sea at the very, very top can be very, very stormy. But in the deepest depths, down at the bottom of the sea, there is this calmness. There's this very gentle swaying with the currents, like very, very soft and gentle, and this quiet space. And there is a call for you to cultivate more of this inner stillness, of sitting in silence with yourself and just allowing yourself to be by yourself and feel how you are actually feeling. There are also a lot of meditations that you can find online about meditations connected to the sea, or meditations to cultivate inner calm and stillness, or to it's about reconnecting to this place of stillness. Because the more as well, when you are in a relationship, or if you are in an encounter like this, when you are, let's say you have a fight and you walk away for the day or for the hour, whatever, the quicker and easier it is for you to return to the space of inner stillness and this like inner calm, the easier it will be for you to detangle all of these threats in these kind of encounters, to make sense of it all, as well as to understand and break out of these patterns. With pleasure here. Oh, that's really beautiful. I mean, I heard the word like pleasure seeking. You are pleasure seeking. And we already spoke about needing to shift sort of your focus from the outer to the inner. There is like a little side message about sexuality here and about self-pleasure. I'm not going to go like super deep into this topic. Pun not intended. But explore your body in a way that feels good for you. And it's connected to the stillness. There's sort of they just said like make it a bit of a ritual for yourself, like maybe light some candles. There's like and also reconnecting to your body in a way that feels safe for you, and it's just for you to enjoy. It's not for anyone else to enjoy or be part of, or in some cases even take advantage of. It's just about you and feeling that for yourself. The second message connected to that, a little side note, by the way, if you want to go a bit deeper into that, and like particularly connecting to the stillness of this like sexuality. I mean, you are spiritual, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Maybe have a look in doing some like tantric self massages if you're interested in that, and if you're over 18 or however you wait, it's 21 in the US, right? Well, you know, be of age. But also, this is not really a channel for kids anyway. So little side note from me to you, can feel really nice, okay? I'm gonna leave it at that. The second message about the pleasures as well. Make a list of things that you derive pleasure from. So what brings you pleasure, what brings you joy? And pleasure is also something that engages your senses. So there can be something like going for a beautiful walk through the forest and smelling the air. Like, we are in autumn right now as I'm filming this, and I love the forest, okay? I'm a forest kid, and I love going through the forest. I love this like smell of the damp earth that's around now. The air feels and smells really crisp. Sometimes you can smell all of the mushrooms that are around, and you know, you get this like crisp breeze already, so you need to bundle up a bit more, and it's really cozy. And when you get home, you can make yourself this beautiful like cup of cocoa, or if you prefer coffee, and just, you know, like really enjoy every aspect of drinking this kind of cup. Maybe you put some marshmallows in it. You know, it's like all of these smaller, can also of course be bigger, but all of these little aspects of your life that you derive pleasure from, just you yourself, make a list of them, and then also go ahead and incorporate them into your life. We have protection. You are protected on this. You are heavily protected on this. Oh wow! One of them just said, and like it was like a very stern voice, said, "Use protection." Well, there you have it. Okay, that should be a given anyway. Take care of yourself that way. We got fulfillment here, and I love this because this card also speaks about abundance, and they're giving me this imagery, or this phrase now of I think it's, you can be the ripest peach. Let me show you the card as well. It's like you can be the ripest peach out there, and someone else will still want apples. And it's this kind of imagery of that goes alongside needing this to like return this outward focus inwardly, and to do so in such a way that you allow yourself to be how you want to be, who you want to be, take pleasure from the things that you want to take pleasure from, and not try to model yourself based on someone else's needs. We already briefly spoke about the stillness, but I have like a second message here, because when you look at the card, I mean, we have the beautiful northern lights in the background and everything is frozen. We also have the swan here, which is another symbol of love as well as creativity. But with this like everything being frozen over, I feel like if you aren't already, it could be beneficial for you to maybe take a little break from engaging in these kinds of encounters. I don't know anything about your life in that sense, you know, so I'm not telling you like drop everyone that you have, or your relationship, you know, like is not salvageable. I'm not saying that. I'm saying consider maybe I'm trying to cover my ass here. They're telling me don't put it delicately. All right, cut it out. Maybe take a step back. I'm gonna leave it at that. They're nodding. Okay, so maybe take a step back, and because like connecting with yourself, it's like as soon as we are in a relationship, and it doesn't matter if it's a healthy one or a less healthy one, as soon as we are in a relationship, there is naturally a bit of your, or like a larger amount of your focus on someone else, because you are a unit. You are like companions. You are working together as a team. And naturally, there is a focus on what do they want, what do I want, and then like bringing these two together to sort of, interweave them into a beautiful tapestry that creates a beautiful picture, with like all of the threads connecting. For you, this like tapestry cannot be woven at this time. And the reason it cannot be woven at this time is because you don't really know who you are by yourself. So in this imagery that I gave you, where like both team partners come together, or more partners come together, whatever, it doesn't matter. Partners come together to try and create this tapestry. You don't have the threads to connect, not because you don't necessarily have them, but because you don't have the clarity about them. It comes back to the pleasure, like what do you want? And because of that, there will be a partner drawn in that is more demanding and that has a lot more like threads to weave into the tapestry, so that it's a very like one-sided kind of image that's being woven there, That's the best imagery I can give you. And with the freedom card, a very short message about this, because freedom, that's what you're creating through this. It's like the freedom from this pattern. That's what you are here to create. Okay, that was already quite a lot, but also they gave me a lot of cards. So I want to put the pleasure card on top because it's a beautiful one. And we're going to have a quick look at the journey, at the ancestral journey, although I feel like we already touched on that. So let's see if they have something new to add here. We have the 5 of challenges. We have the black shook, which is the death card. We have the liar. We have the fairy wind. I just heard the word misleading, which is, okay, I'll speak about that in a second. We have the 10 of boons. We have the keeper of visions. Yeah, we have the 9 of challenges. Remember how we spoke about with the forest card of needing to spend at least one night in the forest, being scared for your life? That's the depiction on this card. That's what this card literally speaks of being crazily afraid at night out in the forest. Wow, okay. And then we have, this is like overarching energy, the 10 of challenges. So like a feeling of being defeated. Like fighting the same battle over and over again and feeling the need to disengage, because it's like, I can't keep fighting the same fight anymore. Like we keep fighting about the same things. It's like, I can't anymore. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted from all the battles I've fought. There's this feeling of being exhausted. And this fear, okay, they want me to go back to this, what I spoke about. What did I say just now? Misguided. How about something like this? That's interesting to me because the liar, the liar is just, also look at the imagery, it's kind of self-explanatory. But the fairy wind is an energy that speaks about like getting picked up by the fairies as sort of like a magical, mythical encounter, and getting picked up by the fairies and getting carried like very, very quickly, very, very far away to a different place, and sort of feeling lost again almost. And there's this feeling of people coming in and sort of promising you the world. You see here like the 10 of boons. There's this image that's being painted. You see here we have this beautiful community of very, very lovely people. Down here is a dog, which is a symbol for loyalty. It's a merry get-together where it's like a real, true honest community of good-natured people, like honestly good community. And this sort of like something that's depicted here and the keeper of visions is a shapeshifter. It's a master wizard in this sense, and they can turn into this beautiful fish or choose their human form, whatever they prefer. So we have here like the lyre, the fairy wind, something that takes you very, very far away, and this alluring image of the kind of community or the kind of family that could be built with a shapeshifter. And we have this like paired off with the 9 of challenges and the 10 of challenges. So like this crazy fear of the dangers that lurk out at night in the forest and feeling lost, as well as the defeat that follows right after. And it's the story of like someone, like I said, promising you the most beautiful things that you could ask for, you going along with them. It's like literally the lyre is like drawing you in with this story that they're telling you. They're like drawing you in, alluring you in with this kind of story. But it's not the reality. Like this is kind of like the dream that they're depicting, and this is the reality. It's like you are in fear of losing them, as well as like in fear of what might happen. For some of you, this has been like more on the abusive side of relationships, where literally, like physically speaking, there was some things may happen. It's like depicted with this like 5 of challenges here, and you like each and every single time, like that's how you're coming out of the relationships. That's how you're feeling. Look at him. That's the energy. It's like being battle tired. So battle tired. Of being like, oh my God, I can't believe it. See, like the sword is kind of messed up there, and just defeat. Like feeling defeated each and every single time until a new cycle starts over and over again. And because like here, like with the Black Shook, there's the death card, and it's the symbol of transformation. You know, like things need to be transformed, but it's like you have this old sort of conditioning, this old kind of programming. So all the red flags sort of at the beginning that are there because you are looking for that kind of validation outside of yourself, and sort of look at this then through these like rose-colored glasses. They just look like flags, you know. You don't really see the color anymore because you're wearing the rose-colored glasses. So rose and like red doesn't really look like red flags anymore. See what I mean here? Okay. Let's have a look at how you can heal this pattern. And I know this is already a long reading, so thank you for sticking with us, I should say. Like once a year, I do a reading where the ancestors can go for longer if they choose to. So I have a few different cards. So the first one that we have here is Iris of the Rainbows. Remember, this is about how you can heal and release this kind of pattern. And then we have self-care. Take care of your wonderful self first. Remember how I spoke about that thing already? We have choose love. We have purification, moon magic, and energy shield. I just heard them say you need to protect your energy. And we have rainbow fluoride, focus, productivity, and creativity. And we have, you have so much like rose color energy in your reading. Really beautiful. Pink quartz, love, open heart, and kindness. Protect your energy. I do have 2 more, but actually I wanted to pull 2 more, but more came out. It's your reading after all. But let's look at this for a moment, because we have like self-care, take care of your wonderful self first, choose love. It's like the self-love that's amplified here with like energy shield, like protect your energy. it's also from an energetic perspective, each time that you are engaging in, it doesn't even matter if it's romantic, like any kind of interaction with another being, you are always exchanging energy. There's like you are giving a little bit of energy away, like you're taking a little bit of energy on, like even if it's just a conversation, these are like mini transactions basically that we're speaking of. And the deeper this kind of encounter goes, the more energy is exchanged back and forth. And they want you to also assess and look at when you are spending time with specific people or with this like kind of romantic encounters, how are you feeling afterwards? Like honestly, stop and pay attention, not directly after when you're still having maybe the high from any kind of physical activity, but when you go home, how are you feeling? How are you feeling the day after? When does this fear creep in that they might or may not reach out to you again? Because I feel like there's something connected here where you are always available to them, but they are not always available to you. So there's some kind of imbalance there that they're bringing through now. And it's like, pay attention to how this is actually affecting you and your energy and put up some more boundaries. That's also where this sort of like freeze came in, because it can be very difficult to enforce this kind of boundaries when you yourself are not that like steadfast in them yet, and sort of like a new thing for you. It can be very difficult to try and implement that into something that is already existing, So building these like strong boundaries, these energy shields surrounding you, because with that open heart, like we spoke about, you are attracting a lot of people in, but just because you're attracting a lot of people in does not mean that they deserve your energy. Someone who matches your energy, who has an equally open heart and is equally sensitive and equally giving as you are, that would be a good match for you. But for most of them, that's not the case. So there needs to be more like stronger boundaries. And we have like focus and productivity, creativity. I already briefly spoke about the creativity, that you can focus more on what brings you pleasure. And with the love, open heart, and kindness, it's the self-love. I mean, you got this like flanked here. You got self-care, take care of your wonderful self first. You got the love, we got the open heart, we get like the focus on the self. And I find it interesting that they have this paired with Iris of the Rainbows. I'm not going to hold her card up only because she's pretty naked. Because Iris of the Rainbows is an energy that depicts hope. So she brings a promise for the future, and she brings hope, and she speaks about the use of hope in darkness. So how hope can be something that can get us moving step by step through the darkest of times, and this need to lighten things up in that sense. And there is a way for you out of this pattern. Like, you are not destined to stay in this pattern whatsoever. You can make these changes. You can make these changes, and you need to develop a practice to feel a bit more hopeful. And I want to give you something more tangible than that, though. When you are in a state where you are disengaged from these kinds of energies, and you're just like in a stage of your life where you are a phase of your life where you're focusing on yourself, you can start to daydream a little bit about the kind of relationship that you would like. How would you like to feel in your relationship day to day? How would you like to be treated? How would you like to receive the same kind of love that you give out? What would that even look like? And start asking yourself these kinds of questions, and then start to daydream a little bit. Because what that does is it gives your subconscious as well like a different image to look for. So it's like a different signal that you're starting to send out, rather than staying in the cycle and jumping from one to another to another to another. It's like you're offering a different signal. And this like offering a different signal is part of your manifestation powers. I spoke about that very, very briefly. when you're sending a different signal, you will start to attract different people. But it's something that goes hand in hand with a change on the inner, because you don't really attract what you want, you attract what you are. That's really important. So the kind of love that you are throwing out at everyone else, trying to get someone to give some back to you, give that to yourself. And what you will find is, first of all, your cup will be overflowing, so giving will feel very sweet, first and foremost. But secondly, you will attract someone right back to you who is also giving to themselves first, and then has a cup overflowing and giving back to you. The impact on your romantic encounters and your romantic relationship, if you meet someone, will be absolutely colossal. Because then you will have two people coming together as a team who want to give to one another, and both bring the threads for the tapestry and weaving it together. It will be like feeling like you are actually in a whole team rather than feeling like you're alone in the relationship. Yeah. Okay, I do have a few more cards. Last couple cards, I swear. Yeah, see, we got Sword of Light, Divine Protection, Cords Cut, Breakthrough Energy. Yeah, cut the cords. It's also cutting the cord of not taking care of yourself very well. We have Earth Star Activation, Anchoring, Grounded Action, Isis Energy. I mean, telling you to take care of yourself is a very, very grounded action that you can do, right? Move your body, take care of your body, eat well, nourish your mind, disengage, cut the cords. We got the Central Sun, Abundance, Download, Regeneration, and Success. You will be successful with clearing out this pattern, and the abundant, like the relationship that you will draw in later on will be so abundant. It's going to be something that rather than you feel like you need to fight to stay afloat, it will be the very thing that lifts you up even higher. That's the kind of difference. And with regeneration, that's like you being by yourself and taking care of yourself is an act of regenerating your energy. So really, really important. And then we have Crystal Skull Wisdom, Clarity, Divine Healing, and High Vibrational Energy. So we got here the divine healing, like this is guided. Obviously it is, otherwise the ancestors wouldn't be here and talking about this right now. The clarity is something, remember I spoke about the karmic. The more that you go through that and looking back at it even more, you're going to gain a lot of clarity along the way about that. The more that you are taking care of yourself, by the way, you are raising your vibration and bringing like lighter frequencies, like light energy in. You're going to feel better and better and better and better, basically. Okay, I have one last message. We're going to pull this on camera. I pre-shuffled this already. This is just like a sweet little closing message from them for you. So, my beautiful ancestors from my beautiful pond number 3s, what kind of closing message do you have for them? What kind of closing message do you? Okay, we got 2. Oh, yeah. We got caution, tread softly so as not to disturb the woodland floor. And then we have let go, enjoy the pulsing light of the firefly, but don't hold on too tight. With like tread softly so as not to disturb the woodland floor. Remember how I spoke about how I did get a bit of a physically abusive energy from that partner or the partners. Do what you need to do to protect yourself, okay? There are resources available, free resources available that you can turn to try and get some help and some clarity, as well as sort of an action plan. You don't need to plan this by yourself. You can go and find help that connects to you, right? All right, so my beautiful pond number 3s, that's the reading that we have for you because I hear nothing else. We are done. There will be 2 extra resources coming your way connected to this reading. The first one will be an EFT tapping session to help you release uncomfortable emotions surrounding this kind of topic. And the second one will be a 30-minute Reiki treatment where we will clear out and heal this ancestral pattern in your life, but we will also send some Reiki back throughout the past of your ancestral line to help you with this process. Both are coming out next week. If they're out already, you will find them in the pinned comment down below. And if this reading resonated with you and you want to share a little bit more with me, I'd love to read your comments. And that's it. Have a beautiful rest of your day, my dears. I believe in you. I know you can break this cycle. You absolutely got this. Have a beautiful rest of your day today. Bye.